Hello and welcome to the track that has been described as a go-karting track just supersized. This is, of course, the Hungarian Magyar Nagydíj Season 2, Round 5 of Alliant Motorsport Americas. And this is the top division, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best we have to offer, and we have such an exciting season going on as it is, and we are now in Hungary, one of the toughest and most technical tracks of the entire season, to see who can be skilled and brave enough to overtake around this tricky circuit, who can set the fastest pole time, which is definitely a great step towards a race win, and who can then carry it through a 50% race distance to the checkered flag and come out with the most points. My name, of course, is Savage from Team Crossroads, and I am joined today, as ever, in the commentary booth by the super awesome Fuzzy Peach and the telemetry analysis guru Biggles in the FIA race suite. Gentlemen, welcome to the Hungarian, and what are your, well, fond and maybe not so fond memories about this track?
Well, this may be a go-karting track, supersized, but the highs and lows we experienced at this track just a few days ago in the Division 2 race were nothing compared, were absolutely astounding. So we can expect a lot more of that today.
Absolutely.
Hi guys, glad to be with you down in the pit lane again. It's noisy, it's smelly. I mean, you smell of gasoline, tires, rubber, all the sweaty pit crews running around. Also Jeff as well. Congratulations. Hey, Jeff. Shout out to him as well. Maybe we'll give Jeff credit. But, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun. These are the top dogs. This is the best of the best, the elite. So it's going to be thrilling and fast and furious. And I hope you're hungry for some entertainment.
Absolutely, absolutely. We've got our first times being set here with Duck Lovers taking out a 1:14.3 on the softs, and several drivers, including Macro, Father, Sriracha, and Dougie Falcons on the mediums, looking to see if they can switch up the race strategy a little bit and perhaps catch their rivals off guard. We will see how those drivers get on as the session progresses. We are just at the very start. 15 drivers on the track today, and let's just remind everyone of the situation in the driver standings. Chenjay is trying to do his best to run away with an early driver's title. 94 points for the Haas driver at the very top, being chased by Dougie Falcons, his nearest rival in the Mercedes, with 73 points to his name. Behind them, it's an absolute gulf to Alex Great with 41, FSD Issei, who has all sorts of pace, but has unfortunately missed a few races this season, as we have yellow flags there in Sector 3, as well as immediately behind him, Charles in the Ferrari, whose teammate we are on board with right now with 28 points. The team standings, on the other hand, Haas with a lead of 104 to Mercedes at 73, then Red Bull in third place with 51 points, Racing Point with 42, and the rest of the field closely behind them. Gentlemen, what do you think these drivers have to do to sort of put an end to the Haas and Chenjay domination we've been seeing so far this season?
I firmly believe the difference will be in the tire strategies. As we saw last week, a few days ago, the tire strategies were crucial to our front runners. Just when they came into pit, and what tires they chose to start out on. So I believe that will be what differentiates those who have a chance and those who don't.
That is a very, very accurate statement given where we are. Of course, the Hungaroring, very notorious for being a difficult track to overtake in. The only real viable overtaking points to turns 1 and 3, or 1 and 2, forgive me, and the chicane of 6-7 looking very tempting, but often catching drivers off guard. And that is definitely something we will need to watch out for today. The corner of turn 12 offering an opportunity as well, but not a great one. And if you get your tire strategy right, as Fuzzy said, if the safety cars are kind, or if the weather plays out in your favor, then that is your best opportunity to win the Hungarian Grand Prix. So difficult to fight through the field here, and it takes absolute perfection in both qualifying and the race to be able to pull off that victory. At the moment, Duck Lover still sitting up at the top of the standings. Now, we have Charles at the moment just setting his time into 5th position, and crucially, Chen-Jay still in the pits. Our championship leader has yet to come out for his lap.
As some of our viewers might have noticed, we have 2 drivers here who have set times on medium tires, both Dougie Falcons and Marco, but the mediums are significantly slower than the softs on this track. As a trade-off, though, those softs will only last our front-running drivers a good 2 or 3 laps. After that, they must pit for a new set of tires. So those who are able to qualify in the top 10 with mediums, even if it may not be as high as they could have qualified with softs, are well placed to overcut their competitors through just a better tire strategy, being able to go from mediums to hards later on in the race.
Speaking of different tires, it looked like Macro on mediums had a bit of a spill in the second sector, nearly colliding, but looking like he escaped after his hot lap. On those medium tires, but he's going to need to go into the pits now and repair potentially any damage, as well as Prodigy, who had a spin out of the first corner, but he is on the soft tire. He also set his lap, and it is 678 thousandths down on our new leader, Alex Great, with the provisional pole of 114.0. We are excited to see if any of these drivers will be able to take it out of the 114s in this session. As Prodigy crosses the start-finish line once again to go on another lap here. That is his ERS on 2 and his fuel to the max setting. We have another change. For the provisional pole, Duck Lovers resumes his spot at the very top with a 113.8. So crucial, of course, to get that pole position around this track. The run to turn 1, very, very short and a downhill braking zone, making it so hard. Wow, we see the Renault Fly with Neva there going way off the track just to not interfere with Prodigy's lap. But at the same time, weather will play a huge factor in this race, won't it? So all these drivers starting on, or vying to start on the medium tire, surely now we'll need to take a look at the weather report and see if those tires are the ones to start with, or if there will be intermediate conditions to play with at the start of the race. Of course, the Hungarian track known for precipitation during the race, so let's not count out that possibility just yet.
Biggles, were you able to hack into the weather control, see if we have any rain upcoming for the race this evening?
I am a little bit there. I think Anonymous has said, Biggles, I'm hearing rumors, rumors, whatever, of rain in the forecast. Thank you very much. The FIA is giving me, obviously, just dry conditions for qualifying, but they're not giving me a forecast of what's going to happen in essentially what is 10 minutes time to go. So,
understood. We actually have Chenji here about to finish his hot lap. I've been driving right along with him, and he's set purple sectors 1 and 2. So it'll be interesting to see where he places now as he crosses the line.
Well, it is hard to imagine him placing anywhere except for provisional pole with that kind of time. 113.7 off of the first attempt for Chen-Jay. That elevates him into that provisional pole spot. Meanwhile, Charles Leclerc, somebody that we know can bring some serious pace as well, starting his own hot lap. This will be his second lap of the session. At the moment, well, he is sat in P9, and that will not be good enough for Charles with the amount of dirty air. Obviously, the cars and the drivers running very high aerodynamic setups. Well, D is going to want to be a little bit closer to the front, and let's ride with him for the duration of this lap. Now, braking down hard to second gear, trying not to go over those Verstappers on the insides of that chicane. Now, all about rhythm here through this middle section. Just careful on that throttle, modulating it to make the car pick up more understeer or oversteer through these corners. Just briefly lifting through turn 11 and now down into the final sector. So crucial to hook up the car here, and he goes wide. Does not suffer an invalidation, however, and now he pulls in closer and closer to the inside curve, going just a little bit wide. That's going to cost him a bit of time, and Charles pulls into the pits, abandoning this lap. This one's a no-go.
So we still see Arcraft at the moment setting it. Arcraft is usually joining us in the Twitch stream, but he's racing at the moment, so let's see what the Williams driver can put in. He's the only driver at the moment, I believe, that has not set a lap time, so he's going to be very crafty, and has to be crafty if he wants to set a lap time. He's got 5 minutes, almost just under 6 minutes to do it.
Brilliant stuff there. Well, we're on board with Ironhammer, who is just progressing through his hot lap here. Father Sriracha setting a personal best Sector 3 on the previous lap, but still 7/10 out of the hunt for that pole position there. And it looks like the gap's very tight in the top 5 from Chenjay to his teammate Secret, who is currently running now in a nice elevated 9th position in the Drivers' Championship. He's had a few good races, but unfortunately just unable to be consistent enough to pick up those points. He is currently helping his teammate to a first in the Constructors, of course. He's currently in 5th position, 359 thousandths down on his teammate's time, and those times between 2nd and 5th very close indeed. 2 thousandths separating Alex Great from Secret.
Big little shout out to all our viewers on Twitch there as well. Obviously, Anonymous, Xavier. We're missing Stevie. Stevie's our #1 fan. Not quite sure what happened. Anonymous has the prize there. Being the first one into the chat, joining the stream. He's like, he even bragged about it there. So Anonymous said, "Here before Stevie Gaming." Good job. And I believe there as well that you've hooked up in the commentary box a driver of the day voting, which will form. Is that correct? So
that is correct. Yes, we not only have the driver of the day voting form that we have been testing over the past 2 Grand Prix. We actually have a little graphic for it now too that we will be so excited to share with you guys. Of course, the driver of the day vote will go live with about 5 laps of the race remaining once we get there. So keep your eyes and ears peeled for which drivers are impressing the most throughout the race. Keep that in the back of your mind, and we hope that you will share that with us once the voting goes live. And it is great to have Anonymous join us, of course, on the feed. He himself having a pretty fiery race himself on Thursday, coming out to finish, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, in 6th position. That race, picking up some valuable points for the Williams team. Duck Lovers, meanwhile, crosses that start-finish line. That is back to provisional first, besting Chenjay's time by nearly 1/10 of a second, is the Alpha Tauri driver. And you can clearly see that Duck Lovers currently 6th in the championship. He's had a few very unfortunate races, but he's definitely vying to pick up some crucial points and elevate himself to fight with the likes of Dougie Falcons, Alex Great, and Issei. Issei missing yet another race in Division 1, and that will absolutely cripple his championship chances now. And it's unfortunate to be missing one of our most competitive drivers in the Red Bull.
So it looks like, obviously, as you saw, Duck Lovers put on a masterclass lap. As a shout out to Multi-Sub Entry said, shout outs to the commentators putting on a multi-class every race. There you go. Thank you. Biggles giggles, shall we say? Too soon. No giggles from the Biggles. Back to you guys.
Absolutely, and we love Multi-Sub Entity joining us and all of his fans when he drives. Him and Pile of Garbage having quite the rivalry. The different sectors on the track with the different grandstands colored. One in the McLaren orange, the other in the Red Bull navy blue, and then yelling obscenities at each other. It is awesome. No, of course, it is all in good fun. Everybody is very positive, and it is great to have them as well as their respective crowds with us. Now, I was just on board with Arcraft over the duration of this previous lap, and Arcraft has yet to set a time in this qualifying session. He's got 1 minute and 40 seconds remaining, and he just invalidated his hot lap. So he's going right back to mode 2 ERS, and he's going to try to do 2 in a row on these soft tires. This is critical because Arcraft, he does not want to start from 15th position. That would absolutely destroy his chances of a podium finish in this race. So onto his second hot lap in a row he goes. He does have enough ERS charge, it looks like, to survive this one, but does he have enough tire life, and does he have enough fuel to make it work and to elevate himself into a spot that it is worth starting from? Charles as well on a hot lap right now. We'll keep an eye on his times as well to see if he can get himself a little bit closer to the front of the pack here. Arcraft, knowing this is do or die, carving up the second sector. He knows if he dips a wheel too far off the track, it'll be all over for him in this qualifying session with 40 seconds remaining. Very careful with the track limits, which will in itself cost him a little bit of time. Locking up the inside front, but clipping that inside curb of turn 13 crucially, and now getting closer and closer, and then pushing himself out on throttle. Careful not to run too wide this time. He's going to cross the line, and that is only 14th position for the Williams driver. A disaster for him in this qualifying session.
And Father has prayed to the right gods because he's hooked up the fastest third sector and slotted himself, and that's the Red Bull driver, up into P4. So surely he has not sinned at all. Duck Lover still obviously has the provisional pole there. Dougie Fountains, Chen Jay, but the Father moving up into P4 is very, very good for him.
Super stuff, and that is going to do a lot to help the Red Bull team, who's currently third in the standings. Iron Hammer crosses the line for 11th total.
Sorry to cut you off there. Keep an eye on Alex the Great now. He's setting the fastest first sector. That's the Racing Point driver in P5. See if he can hook it up as you go on board with him.
Let's jump on board, yes, with the Racing Point driver, who is only 4.5 tenths away from pole position as he's coming through the final corners of this track. Let's see what kind of time he can set. That is yellow flags at the very end, but that is, oh my goodness, that is the Haas of Secret spun out of the final corner, and Alex the Great elevates himself to 4th position, 3 tenths down on the leaders. The top 3 split by less than a tenth. Duck Lovers in the provisional pole with a 113.6. Dougie Falcons only 89 thousandths down, and Emerald Chenjay 96 thousandths. Phenomenal density here in these results. But Chenjay, I was just about to say, Chenjay's not done yet, but he unfortunately is, as he has invalidated this lap, and he is headed, strangely enough, into the pits and then back out onto the track, and then back into the pits again. Maybe he's having issues with his navigation system. Maybe he installed the... one of those voice packs that yells at you and makes you all confused.
Phenomenally here, we actually have our top 13 drivers all within a second of each other. So it's very close here at this track right now.
That's right, and that is not by virtue of anyone necessarily slacking off or sandbagging here. We know how fast Duck Lovers, Dougie Falcons, and Chenjay are. These drivers are the kind of drivers that are routinely ranked in the top 200 to 300 in the world on almost every single track. So this is just the density of results we have in Division 1 of Alliant Motorsport Americas, and we wouldn't have it any other way. Always creates a exciting amount of on-track action and unpredictability for us come race time. But as all of the drivers have crossed the line for qualifying, and the counter here is ticking down to the end of the session, let's run you through the grid order for the start of the race. Duck Lovers will take it from pole position alongside Dougie Falcons in 2nd position. Crucial getting that front row, but he is on the dirty side of the track. In turn, Chenjay on the racing line in 3rd, and then Alex Great beside him. Father Sriracha in the Red Bull in 5th, Secret in 6th, Ezzy Ninetime in 7th, and Prodigy in 8th position. The 2 Ferraris, Keon and Charles, only 9th and 10th. And the Ferrari squad is going to look to, well, improve that result in the race quite substantially. Mattia Binotto has ripped out just about every single hair he's had on his head, and he is moving down to, well, the rest of any other hair that he has on his body. And then immediately behind these drivers, we will get to the final 5 in just a second as the scoreboard comes up here. Ah, yes, here we go. Behind them, Iron Hammer in the McLaren, Fly with Neva in the Renault, Camel in the Alfa Romeo, and Arcraft in the Williams Macro. In the Racing Point, rounds out the top 10. We'll be looking for a comeback drive from Camel and Arcraft potentially in the race, as they will get a chance to pick the starting compound that they'll get to go on the grid with. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back for you with surely what is going to be a stunner of a race. And welcome back to race day, and we can see we are absolutely drenched here at the Hungaroring as the drivers begin their formation lap. Apologies for the lack of commentary during the... Oh my goodness, wow, as we already have, it looks like Alex Great there going off the track during the formation lap. We are still sorting out this new graphic package that we hope that you are enjoying over at home. New graphics, all entirely done in-house here on Alliant Motorsports. So there will be more to come in that department. A new look for all the streams, and a lot of new interactive features that will be on display for all of you. Now, with these rain conditions and these intermediate tires that all the drivers have fitted, Fuzzy, Biggles, what is your strategy for surviving these treacherous conditions on such a tricky track as it is?
Honestly, just pray. As we already see, we've had some issues here with Alex the Great and Father Truck already being disqualified. Apparently the father didn't pray enough, which is quite surprising, but no. This is going to be a very chaotic race, I feel. And it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
Yep, and Venom has already had an early prediction on the race here. He's thinking that Chenjay for P1, Dougie for P2, and the father for praying for the rain gods in P3. And also that shout out, Zach is very cool, said, amazing commentary, lads. There you go.
Oh, thank you so much.
At least you're dry and safe up in the commentary box, but these drivers are going to be soaking in sweat and rain.
That's right, and we hope you brought your umbrella as well, Biggles. Do let us know if you see anything telling on the radar whether or not this rain will continue for a substantial amount of time into the rest of this race. For the time being, however, we will keep you all in the dark regarding that information, and we will instead focus on the light sequence here at the Hungaroring. All the cars occupying their grid spots now, and we are ready to get things started here shortly. That is all 5 lights on, and they go out. And we have, it looks like, either a false start or a desync in the lobby, as is fairly typical, but all the cars are now underway for the Hungarian Grand Prix. A few running away into the front. The Mercedes, oh my goodness, Dougie Falcon's bouncing every which way here on the starting straight, but everybody still intact as they go into the first corner. That is the predicted pit stop strategy on your screen with a pit stop from inters to inters. It is going to be tough to make these tires last the entire Grand Prix. Charles Leclerc here descending down to 11th position. And Macro gaining 11 spots off of what was either a false start or a desync. We will let you guys know as this race progresses. And meanwhile, Charles trying to fight through the spray, through the dirty air here in the rainy conditions. You can still see drops falling onto the track. And oh my goodness, is Charles going to go down the inside of Prodigy into turn 8? He does. That is a rare overtake that we do not usually see here in the second sector, but Charles has pulled it off magnificently, and that is now the Ferrari driver into 8th position.
I managed to make a quick call to the race directors here, and it does seem like Marco doesn't have a penalty for a false start, so I believe that was a bit of desync there. So Marco benefiting greatly from that, as he's now in 3rd position after having started at the back of the grid.
That's right, and Keon as well, up in front, not able to keep Chenjay at a safe distance, and the Haas driver now pulling up directly behind the Ferrari. You can actually see the car is ghosted, so quite possibly he has been disconnected from the session, and the two cars are able to just phase through each other, and that is Chenjay back into the lead. Please ignore the timing screen at the left. Dougie Falcons at the moment running 4th on the track, followed closely by Alex, Great, and Macro as well. Yellow flags in Sector 1, as it looks like Kamel and Multi-Sub Entity getting tangled up a little bit into the first corner here. Now the Alfa Romeo driver running in last position.
I think Duck Lovers is moving up into P2. Is he making a move on Kion? He is. That's Duck Lovers past the Ferrari. This is certainly the perfect conditions for a duck right now, as it's wet and it's slippery. And that will definitely be, should be, putting my telemetry duck up in P2.
Absolutely, that is Duck Lovers happy as a duck in rain right now.
Magnificent, magnificent stuff. It looks like all of the cars on the grid are slowly but surely making their way past Macro and Keon, who are piloted surely by AI at the moment. Meanwhile, Arcraft back in 11th position. And he is stalking the back of Father Sriracha. Father Sriracha not having the best getaway from the grid, and all the way down in the final points paying position, now going a little wide. They're struggling for grip, fighting the understeer through the penultimate corner, and this surely will open up an avenue for Arcraft to attack the Red Bull driver if he can just hook up his own exit, struggling in the dirty air here in 10th place. And that is... That is Keon down now on the timing to 17th, still on the track though, somewhere around there it is, back to 7th as we are fighting through some connection issues. Meanwhile, Macro, right on the back of Prodigy, quite possibly the Ferrari driver, may be set up for the dry as he is struggling monumentally here in these wet conditions. Will be, oh my goodness, eager to see as Macro pulls out to the outside of the Mercedes driver into the fast, blind left-hander of turn 4, unable to make a move, or perhaps unwilling, wisely so, because it is so difficult to just hook up a single car through that corner, much less two at the same time. Now, the Racing Point driver is a cork in the bottle for Father Sriracha and Arcraft, creating a bit of a train here in the mid-pack.
And look at this as well. 17 drivers in these horrendous conditions in Hungary. Well, not horrendous, that we've seen a lot worse, but 17 drivers remaining on the grid. And nobody has boxed yet. So what? A drive to survive, shall we say? Shout out to Netflix.
Oh, and that looks like, speaking of Drive to Survive, that looks like a collision between Father Sriracha and Macro, and the Red Bull driver losing a little bit of his front wing here. You can see the left end plate missing on his car. He elects not to pit, however, and this is going to compromise him monumentally in the rain here. You can just see the car drifting wide on throttle. He comes back onto the track, oh, and they collide with the McLaren of Ironhammer. This compromises Ironhammer's exit as he nearly loses the car from the final corner. Just barely able to hang on to his 9th position, but Arcraft slipping through and Father Sriracha tumbling down the order.
Absolutely, the father here with his wing damage is having some trouble getting around those corners right now, because this is absolutely a downforce heavy track, and any slight bit of damage on that front wing makes it monumentally harder to keep position.
Oh, I think he's regretting not pitting. Forgive me, Biggles. I think he's regretting not going into the pits right now. He's running wide at every single corner, and that's not going to do his penalty situation any favors, and that's going to allow everyone behind him to essentially overtake him. Now, not sure what the weather situation is for the remainder of this race, but surely the well, he's not going to be able to run like this much longer, and he may as well pit for a new set of inters and a new front wing.
I can give you the weather report there. It's coming from the Codys. Also, it's coming there, I believe, from Zach is very, very cool. Zach, I'm going to be keeping very cool too, hopefully, out of the rain. But anyway, I believe it's going to dry up in about 15 minutes. That is what the prediction is that Jeff is telling me and everybody down in the pit lane. So, can you make these inters go, essentially, for, I think at the time it's sped up, but you've got to make them probably run to about at least lap 10 or 15 if you want to switch over to the dry tires or take a risk and gamble early.
You know, it looks like Father Sriracha not able to continue without that front wing. And oh, it looks like we've had an incident. That is Fly with Neva spun around on exit from the final quarter. Severe damage to the left side of the Renault driver's front wing, and Fly with Neva losing a whole host of positions. And crucially, the Renault driver has to go an entire lap now without essentially a working front wing before he can get back into the pits to change it.
We have multi-sub entity here in 14th, duking it out side by side with Kamel, I believe, in through these corners. It's very tricky to manage side by side battles through this track, even on a dry surface. So with the wet rain, both these drivers are extremely courageous in doing so.
That's right, the wet rain, as opposed to, of course, the dry rain that we don't see too much of in Formula One. No, that's a low blow. I take that back. Just kidding, Fuzzy. But multi-sub entity getting very close to the back of Camel, but unable to mount an offensive. Meanwhile, Dougie Falcons has been running within a second of Duck Lovers for the entire lap, and Duck Lovers, of course, running about a second and a half back on Chenji. No DRS in these conditions, however, so actually, quite possibly, Duck Lovers is at an advantage running in a bit of a gap from the car ahead of him. Less dirty air and a clean road with less spray coming into the visor, and the AlphaTauri driver actually able to see where he's going. Not stopping Dougie Falcons from making very threatening gestures into various corners here, past turn 1 and now turn 2. These drivers running mere millimeters away from each other.
Oh, it looks like Duck Lovers went really wide there. That's not the way you want to swim as a duck. You can't get like that, and although Dougie has to try to get past him as well. These guys also have to think about time management right now. You got to try to make these inters go for at least another 5 more laps, because rain is going to stop falling, I believe, in Hungary very, very soon. So if these drivers have to get in there and box and try to make that switcheroo over to the dry tires. At the moment, it's not ready yet, but how far can you make these?
To quickly interrupt you here, Biggles. It seems that Prodigy has made a mistake, and that has allowed Arcraft to close the distance to mere half a car length right now between him and Prodigy. He'll be looking to overtake Prodigy as soon as he can, possibly on the start-finish straight in a few moments.
That is spot on, Fuzzy. We're not sure if there's any damage on board the Mercedes, but the Williams driver just looking so quick right now behind Prodigy. And we'll have to see if Arcraft is able to make an overtake. Of course, Arcraft starting from 14th position, now up in 8th, and that recovery drive is coming together quite well for him. Of course, he has to make it past Prodigy in order to make it stick. Meanwhile, our group there up front with Duck Lovers and Dougie Falcons also running very close. We're keeping an eye out on them, and it looks like Ezzy 9x2 looking to make it past Macro here, side by side on the start-finish straight, and that is a convincing overtake for the AlphaTauri driver, moving up into the final points-paying spot. Meanwhile, Arcraft... Go right ahead, Fuzzy.
My apologies. No, it looked like Arcraft was about to make a move and wanted to make sure we caught that, but it seemed he chose the safer side of Valor there and backed out just before committing to it, trying to keep his car alive, essentially, because this is a long race, and we're only 7 laps in right now.
Well, these drivers...
Does it look like he can make an easy pass like Ezzy just did? Or does he have to try to line it up for another crafty pass or another crafty attempt, shall we say? Oh, bad Biggles puns there. Biggles giggles.
I'm waiting till the pirate puns come out, the R-craft, etc., etc. We might have to wait until we're at around lap 25 and half a bottle in on the whiskey, or rum rather in that case, actually. Now, Aircraft still running very close. Our intervals time board here is down, unfortunately, potentially in these rain conditions, interfering with the signal from the FIA race control. But Dougie Falcons still within striking distance of Duck Lovers, keeping the AlphaTauri driver honest and making sure that any mistake his rival makes can be well capitalized on. Alex Great running very, very close behind him there as well, and Secret not too far away either. Everybody looks to be keeping themselves within engagement distance, but not making any risky moves yet. There are still many, many laps around this track left to go, and they know they'll be much safer trying these overtakes in the dry. Now, one thing that I'd like to ask you, Fuzzy, as a league racer, as somebody who's always on comms with your teammate, Chenjay and Secret now running very, very close to each other. If they pit on the same lap, they will double stack, but as we know, with the raining conditions changing very quickly and a crossover point essentially being about half a lap or a lap long, if you're the trailing driver, do you choose to lose that time and double stack but pit at the optimal time for the tires, or do you go on that extra lap and pit later knowing you lose some time, but at least you won't have to double stack with your teammate?
With how much faster the dries are, the dry tires, it's usually about 4 to 5 seconds per lap. I honestly would believe that it would be more advantageous to pit on the pit earlier. Even if you do have to double stack there, you'll be saving time overall, just off that one lap where you'll be on dries instead of inners.
Great insights, Fuzzy. Go ahead, Bagels.
Yeah, just to give you a little information there from Duck Lovers running in P2 at the moment. I've just heard from the team, they're running about almost 40% towards the rears and about 30% towards the fronts at those inters at the moment. So still some grip, but they're going to start falling off the cliff. I believe about 5 or 6% tire wear per lap. So how they're going to make them stretch to that window of the dries is going to be a tall order.
Fantastic insights, and thank you for those. Multiple battles right now going on all over the track. Ezzy 9-time right behind Ironhammer, and of course Kamel we just caught the tail end of his collision with Macro earlier this past lap, and now right on the back of the McLaren driver, Zay, struggling a little bit on these tires, 6.2 seconds behind Ezzy 9-time, and Kamel looking feisty, but might be facing a steward investigation later on in the race. Meanwhile, we're going to cut to Aircraft and Prodigy side-by-side moments here in the middle sector, and the Williams driver braving it around the outside of turn 8. Unbelievable stuff, elevating himself up into 7th position and finally making it past Prodigy in the most unpredictable place possible. We've seen 2 overtakes in this corner so far this race, and well, that is some great stuff. Dougie Falcons.
We have a shakeup in the top 3 right now as Dougie Falcons is pitting right now. Will he be pitting for dry tires, or is he just?
He's gone to inters. What is Dougie doing? He took the gamble and's gone straight to inters, so maybe he knows something we else don't know. But it's not raining anymore. Look at this on track, just as mentioned by Zach. It's not raining.
Still seeing a little bit of spray on board with Ezzy 9-time here, but that might be a little bit deceptive as some of that water could be just coming up from the car in front. Ezzy looking to line up Ironhammer into the first corner. Is he going to dive the brakes? No, he is not. Nearly making contact with the McLaren, and who's going to get the better exit? Oh, Ezzy nearly losing the car as he oversteers on exit, and unfortunately that compromises his run. We will keep an eye out on Dougie Falcons, and do let us know if you get any tweets or anything from the Mercedes team explaining perhaps that rather questionable pit decision.
We're looking at about 22 seconds for a pit stop at the moment, so if Chenjay boxes, he will slot in essentially, but almost very close to Aircraft, running in P6. So that's what a pit stop will cost you at the moment, pending you have no damage or penalties to serve.
It's very interesting that Dougie pitted that, especially because there was no wing change, so damage wasn't the issue. Could he have just been running those inters too hard, trying to catch up to Duck Lovers and Chenjay? And therefore had to pit in an effort to just avoid popping them.
Well, have a look at the traction that Dougie has right now, as is all the back of Aircraft. You can see the difference between these tires. And he has to get a move on as well, because if he's made the wrong tire decision, it might cost him later on if he has to box again. But he has to get Aircraft obviously on those fresh inters, and that's probably going to give you the results to the question you just asked.
Indeed. Moving to the inside for what is surely nearly a wave-by overtake on Aircraft. That is the Mercedes driver elevating himself up into 6th position with the superior traction, but having previously been running in the
Sorry to interrupt
podium
here, but we
spots.
have Prodigy here coming out on the first set of dry tires. He's coming out on the mediums right now, actually.
That's right. That is mediums for the rest of the race. That's going to be... Oh, my goodness!
Ooh.
We just cut away from him as he nearly lost the car. Still in one piece, though. Very tough
No,
to
he's
warm
okay.
up.
He was just doing a Lewis Hamilton practice race start. That's all. That's what I heard.
Oh, goodness. That is...
Multi-sub entities now is also coming out on mediums. So I believe we are at, if not approaching, that crossover point that we've been talking about so far.
This is what I predicted. Lap 10 would be about the point that these guys have to make these inters run to. So now it's a call from Jeff, and Jeff has to earn his paycheck right now. He's going to be running around trying to call the strategy for all these drivers. And Chenjay's in the box.
Quite possibly then Dougie Falcons going into try to... Oh, my goodness! Oh, and Camel nearly loses his car. Gracefully saves it in the second sector. Let's... action here, and a lot of drivers actually fitting hard compound tires on their car for the rest of the race. Now, with the lower track temperature, I would wonder if hards are altogether necessary to go to lap 35, but many of these drivers know a lot better than we do, and we'll have to see how well they get on.
So this has cost the Duck Lovers because he's managed to slot out, the Chenjay's got out ahead in P3, but Aircraft is split between Duck Lovers that was following behind Chenjay, and Alex is behind Duck Lovers. So a little bit of a time difference there as Aircraft is going to hold up Duck Lovers perhaps.
Absolutely. Forgive me for the interruption. Absolutely unbelievable scenes on... penalty. Oh, we're seeing overtakes everywhere except for where overtakes are normally done on this track. And unbelievable stuff. Unfortunately, the father is going to suffer significantly for that incident. His teammate suffering significantly on exit from turn 1. Multi-sub entity unable to get his mediums into the temperature and spinning, losing quite a few spots here.
Secret is boxing from the lead at the moment. Look at this. Every single tire compound at the moment that is available to the drivers is being used. Well, sorry, apart from the wets, but yeah, let's just go with that.
That's right. And looks like Fly with Neva moving rather slowly there on exit from turn 1. All these drivers struggling to keep their tires in the window right now, as it is so very, very cold on the track. Let's see where Secret reemerges. He's going to reemerge nearly side by side with Alex. Great! He goes wide on those hard tires in the first corner, and the Racing Point driver able to, forgive me, actually unable to pull the move off. Somehow, in between our camera cuts here, Secret manages to maintain his 3rd position on the road, and Alex will not be all that happy about that either. And side-by-side stuff. Yeah, forgive me, Fuzzy. Side-by-side stuff between Dougie Falcons and Charles Leclerc, who has just pitted. The Ferrari driver twitching out the rear, but keeping 5th over Dougie in 6th. No, forgive me, not Zay. That is Iron Hammer having a bit of a spin out of the first corner here as well.
You can look at his wing. It seems he has suffered no damage, I believe. Yes, so he will not be pitting for that new wing.
And an interesting strategy from Kamel here, coming out on soft tires, which are by far much better suited for this drying track than the hards. Let's see if he can put on any sort of offensive through the midfield here, currently running in 13th position. There's no way those tires will make it to the end, but he is gambling on a safety car to come out at some point during the latter half of this race, as Dougie Falcons is trying to stage a counterattack against Charles Leclerc, running immediately behind the Ferrari driver, and let's see if he can make a convincing move down the start-finish straight. DRS has been enabled, and he has that open now as the Ferrari makes a thaw move to the inside, not fooling the Mercedes driver, though, going deep into the corner. However, the two collide out of the corner, and that is the Ferrari in the grass on exit from turn 1. And Dougie's slowing down here, not sure if he has to let Charles through for an illegal overtake. He does. Maybe
So
that
Savage,
is
you have a replay of that? Apparently the commentary is not working on the replay. That's what I just heard. I want to make sure I get the right cable plugged in. Red, blue, green, or apparently purple.
Let's give that a shot. And I think Biggles is onto something here. Definitely no commentary source in the replays. Our apologies for that.
I'll see if I can plug the right cable in. It looks like Ezzy's getting past Prodigy into P8.
Going slowly here in the second sector. We will go through these growing pains, but we will get that all figured out before next time for you guys here. But we did get a chance to get a clip of that action there between Charles and Dougie, or forgive me, Charles and, Dougie Falcons there. The Mercedes driver, very courteous to let his rival through after a collision that he potentially felt was his own fault. Great sportsmanship here on Alliant Motorsport Americas.
Oh, virtual safety car has been deployed. I was just about to mention Kamal's the only guy on the soft tires with the virtual safety car has been deployed for Marco, it looks like. Stopped on the last corner. That's P11 Marco. What's happening there?
Fight with Nieves actually left the session. I believe they're...
No. I tell him to show Marco stopped on track, but he's actually racing. But we are in a virtual safety car conditions. Prodigy's boxing. Yeah, I want to see Kamel's pace at the moment as well on the softs, but 126.4, nowhere near the leader's pace.
So I've actually been following along with Kamel here. The issue here seems that even though he's vastly faster than those ahead of him on the hards, he just can't seem to make those overtakes due to how hard it is to overtake on this track. So that just goes to show how much of a difficulty these drivers are having and how incredible the overtakes we've seen actually are.
So the hard tires were probably the right call, shall we say, if it's going to be difficult to overtake. Anyway, back to you guys. Racing is underway. Green flag.
That is definitely a gamble that a driver takes when they choose a more aggressive tire strategy on a track like this. Absolutely a challenge to make it work. Both of the Ferraris and Mercedes is at the moment locked in tight battles. That is Charles Leclerc and Dougie Falcons up front, and then Prodigy and Keon immediately behind in the back of the field. Now the Mercedes putting his nose on the inside of the Ferrari on the final corner, but unable to get a good exit, perhaps getting a little impatient here, and Charles defending superbly now. Let's see how good of traction he can get. These guys are on identical tires. Charles is one lap newer, and he is able to extract that necessary grip from them, getting a phenomenal exit out of the first corner and keeping his position before the second.
Falling behind, we have Mel on his 2-lap-old softs, chasing behind Zay here, who's on 3-lap-old hards. They seem to have had equivalent exits off of turn 1, so it'll be how they take turn 1. That'll determine if Kamel will have that run on Zay here through turn 2, but it does not seem that is the case here. It seems Zay managed to just pull off just enough speed to stay ahead.
Kamel not liking those tires perhaps as much as he had hoped, and unable to clear Zay here. You'd have to wonder if Father is just sitting behind and admiring the battle and waiting for these guys to take each other out. So difficult to overtake here, and of course so tempting to lunge a move that doesn't belong. We'll have to see where Kamel picks to make his strike. Lap 17 of 35 around the Hungaroring.
Dougie Falcon's looking for a move on Charles here, and he makes it through turn 1 and getting around Charles on the inside there.
And this time not going too deep, sticking the exit quite well, and that is Dougie Falcons into 5th position. He's not going to have to let Charles through this time. This move was completely legal and very, very impressive. Back on board now with Kamel. You'd have to think it's do or die now against Zay Bernice. And turning on his overtake a little bit late down the straight. DRS open as well, just unable to close that distance. Zay closing down Macro in front, and soon will be able to use the racing point as a defense, getting that crucial DRS off of the car. Father Sriracha this whole time right behind them, and you could see Macro making a slight error on exit. Oh, from turn. Oh my goodness, and that is Kamel making a mistake here now into turn 4. And he is in an absolute locked battle with Father Sriracha now immediately behind him. Oh, that is Macro spun! Wow! That is the racing point off the track. Forgive me, go ahead.
That's Marco, exactly just what you just called. Something happened. He's ghosted, actually, so maybe disconnection issues as Dougie sets the fastest lap. Kion's having some issues there, dropping in and out, but at least he's running in P15th at the moment. Multi sub in P16. Multi, how are you chatting on Twitch at the same time anyway? But there's a bit of a train forming behind Zay Benice at the moment, running in P10, just behind his teammate Ironhammer.
That's right. Macro not enjoying those hard tires at the moment, just one bit. Well, and Kamel starting to get closer and closer to Zay now in the McLaren. Zay moving to the inside on the hard tires, defending the inside line. The Alfa Romeo very deep into the corner. Perhaps a little too brave on the brakes, but trying to use that soft compound to get the better exit, just extracting all the performance they have to offer. And is this Kamel into P10? It looks like it is. Incredible stuff, and nearly losing it. But at the end of the day, those who don't risk it don't drink the champagne. Emerald Chenje setting the fastest lap of the race up front, and Alex Gray crucially getting very close now to the back of Secret.
Absolutely. Kamel may have gotten into the points still, but it is to be noted that his tires are currently 5 laps old. And as we've spoken about before, those softs tend to fall off around lap 6 or so. So he'll be looking to have to replace those soon.
Yeah, I wonder if he's a praying man as well. If Zay's a praying man, because he essentially has the father behind him. So whether he's a religious man or how many Hail Marys he has, but the father's ready to kind of duplicate on the maneuver that Kamel has just done and try to get past Zay, who somehow does not like those hards at the moment. And now he's falling victim into the Red Bull driver of the father, P12.
Briefly, we were just on board with Alex Great as well, as he quite forcibly barged his way down the inside of Secret and took 3rd position without necessarily asking for permission. That is Alex Great in P3, and that is Father Sriracha making a move down the inside. However, Zay able to get the switchback out of the first corner and shunting Father right back into 12th. Now, the Red Bull driver unable to make that move stick and just getting a little too ambitious on the brake pedal. So very difficult to plot your way around a convincing defense around this track. At the moment, Dougie Falcons with the fastest lap of the race. You can see there, 117.8. And all of our drivers up front running with a slight gap to one another. With Alex Great trying his best to pull clear of Secret. Not succeeding, however. The Haas driver still half a second immediately behind Alex.
We've officially crossed the 50% point of the race right now, lap 20 of 35, and believe it or not, only one retirement at the moment. No safety cars, a couple of virtual safety cars. But yeah, Secret is now, there's no secret that Secret is on a mission to get past Alex the Great.
Not looking quite as quick when Alex was behind him, but you know, sometimes when you're driving in uncertain conditions, having a car in front of you gives you that much more confidence. It shows you what is possible through every single corner, and Secret now picking up all sorts of pace. Meanwhile, back with Father Sriracha, who's now trying to learn from his previous mistakes, staying patient in the first corner, and now focus on his exit. We have yellow flags there in Sector 3 briefly, all cars still moving, and let's see if Father Sriracha is able to launch a move into turn 2, unable to do so, still in 12th, frustratingly behind Zay, who's falling further and further behind Kamel, who was with these two just moments ago. On board now with Charles Leclerc running in 6th position, and it looks like he's going to have to start defending it. Keon setting the fastest lap of the race as he disconnects once again. So definitely fighting through some connection issues, but displaying some rapid pace. Meanwhile, Charles unable to sneak away from Arcraft, and Arcraft now looking to climb a little bit farther up the order in this race. Now, we still have 14 laps to go, so all of these drivers that are running on the medium tires will have to start being very careful and not abuse those tires too much, or else risk receiving a puncture towards the end of the Grand Prix. On board now, again, with Father Sriracha, who has spoiled us for highlights on a lap-by-lap basis, running ever closer to the McLaren in front, and my goodness, it just looks like Zay has all sorts of battery in the bank. The Red Bull driver going deep on the inside again, and coming out on top this time. Will the McLaren launch a counterattack? That is a no, and that is finally Father Sriracha up into 11th position.
So I was just checking in on Twitch feed at the moment there. When are these guys going to box again? Some people are saying around 22. Well, actually, I was asking also about the time in the pit stops. I believe it's 22 seconds according to my telemetry, but it might be longer than that. The stops around lap 23 for mediums, but lap 29. How far can these guys go before they box again? That's going to be the interesting point. Dougie at the moment is the only guy that's running in P5 that had taken the extra pit stop to visit Jeff. So he's had 2 pit stops. All the other guys essentially at the moment, all the way down in the top 10, have only had 1 pit stop.
Indeed, and Dougie running on those mediums at the moment, and I'm sure he will attempt to take those to the end. We'll have to see how successful he'll be able to do so. Kamel in the pits now, switching out his 9-lap-old softs, as we had assumed, for a brand new set of mediums. That is to the end now, and he will surely have all sorts of pace against the drivers in front of him, but as we had learned during his previous stint, it is one thing to be faster, and it is a whole different ballgame to actually overtake around the Hungaroring.
We have 2 battles here on track right now, well, quite a few actually, but currently we have Aircraft closing the distance between him and Charles Leclerc. Just coming out of the 3rd corner, it'll be interesting to see if Aircraft can hold that optimal line, get enough of a slingshot to boost him through the start-finish straight. And he is closing in Charles right now. He'll be looking to set up that move onto through corner 1 in order to get a better exit off corner 2, and he does. But Charles cuts off his line there a bit, forcing Aircraft to let off a bit here and keeping the lead.
Running on board with Aircraft at the moment, we can see he's actually not using his overtake at all. He's trying to tire out the Ferrari driver. He's trying to make all of these essentially fake overtake attempts to drain the battery of the car in front, to be able to make a more significant move immediately afterwards, and crucially, to be able to then pull away from that car and out of the DRS window. Really smart race by Aircraft, but he is going to have to pull that trigger sooner rather than later. Mere threats are not going to let him get past that Ferrari.
At the moment, it sounds like I'm getting from the information from the team, the team bosses at the moment, that currently the front runners are wearing about 25% at the moment on those hards. So they still have plenty of grip. And I'm hearing from their bosses and Jeff that they should be able to run easily to the end of the race.
These hards aging like fine wine. Could this be the lap that Aircraft tries to secure that overtake? Oh, running so very deep into the first corner, and he's going to have to slot right in behind Charles Leclerc. That attempt looked much more real and much more committed, but not much more successful than what we saw on the previous
we actually just had Secret run a bit wide there, and let me see if he has damage, because he did slam into the side of the wall as he went wide through, I believe it was turn 3.
Left end plate missing on the front wing there, Fuzzy. Good call, and good looking out there. Secret now has Dougie Falcons all over the back of him in the middle sector. That is the worst sector to be missing a piece of your front wing around this track. Now, Fuzzy, if you're Secret, do you dive into the pits right now, or do you try to hang on to the end of the race?
On this track, you absolutely want to dive into the pits, go for those mediums at this point. But it seems like Secret will not be doing so. Interesting. Secret will have to hold on for as many laps as he needs to before going into pit. He's going to have to focus on blocking Dougie Falcons, because with the missing end plate, he will not have the speed advantage.
That's right. He is struggling so monumentally right now, making his best impression to try to keep this car going. Oh, and he collides with the Mercedes driver ever so slightly. No damage to either car, but Dougie Falcons forces his way up into 4th position and leaves Secret in the dust. And I would have to say that I think Secret made the right decision to stay out. He's got a gap of 11 seconds back to Arcraft with 10 laps to go, and Arcraft, of course, running the medium tires. I think Secret can make this one to the end, as it looks like Prodigy has... It looks like he is DNF'd from the race. The car is still moving, however, with severe damage to the front wing, albeit. But unfortunately, that is looks like Prodigy out of the session there.
This will be interesting right now. Let's check I want to check the standings at the moment. There, Dougie Chenjay obviously leading the stand championships there. Dougie Falcons running in P4 is P2. Alex the Great running in P3 is 3rd in the championship. Ezzy is unfortunately not with us. Duck Lovers in P6. Now, I'm thinking right now, Duck Lovers running in P2 has no time penalties. Chenjay does, but he's a further 12 seconds behind down the road. Could Duck Lovers perhaps duck into the pits, put some fresh boots on, and try to get potentially the fastest lap and at least try to bring something at the end of the day? Because in his strategy right now, I don't know how he can even bring anything to Chenjay and increase his championships. Some sort of gamble, some sort of switch tactics might happen there.
The issue with that kind of gamble there, Biggles, is that if Duck Lovers does pit, it will most likely have to be for those softs. And if he pits for those softs, he's going to come out, let's see, probably behind Arcraft there. And even though he will have those much faster softs, as we've seen earlier, despite having the grip advantage, it is very hard to get past drivers on this track. So that might actually push him further back, further down the order, and any points he gains with the fastest lap.
Well, actually, you're right. But then again, Secret has 9 seconds of penalties, and Dougie has 3, and Alex the Great has 3 as well. So if he can just bring it back, he can essentially almost come back to the same position he was at before, and not only have obviously resuming the race in P2, but he would actually essentially have the fastest lap and potentially get faster to Chenjay, because the only strategy I can see he can bring it to Chenjay would be on different tires.
As much of a hard time as I give you about your puns, you know what? That one was quite phenomenal, Biggles. The Duck Lovers duck into the pits. Phenomenal stuff there from our one and only Biggles that we love having here with us so very, very much. Brilliant stuff. Lap 27 of 35 around the Hungarian. Just a few laps remaining now as we get yellow flags there in sectors 1 and 2. Before we find out whose strategies paid off the most, Dougie Falcons at the moment hanging on quite nicely in 4th on those mediums. Secret losing heapfuls of time to him with his damaged front wing, and Arcraft only 7.3 seconds behind the Haas driver.
Safety car. Safety car. Yeah, I'm gonna bring the format. We have a safety car.
I have. It should be revised.
Perfect.
We have a safety car.
We do have a safety car, and for whom it looks like a Ferrari. That is not Charles. That is Keon retiring from the race at the start of the 2nd sector. And how will this change the complexion? The drivers, everyone behind 2nd place, diving into the pits for a set of softs. Chenjay staying out. Perhaps he was too far along in the final corner to dive into the pits when that safety car was called. And that means that he is going to be out on hards unless he can duck into the pits on the following lap before the safety car picks him up, which is still a possibility.
You can't use that duck. I already used that duck before. Stop ducking.
Well, it's that, and actually I'm on board with him now, and he is already behind the safety car, which means that he will not be able to get that proverbial free pit stop in anymore, as they are moving much slower behind that Mercedes AMG GT than the other cars are on the free track with the Delta. So that could quite possibly throw a huge wrench into Chenjay's plans for this race.
Yep, it's worth it. I really do think it's worth it. Good call for Doc. Changing to those tires. He's got nothing to lose at the moment. is running currently, I think, a little further down the championship as well in P6. So if you have to do it, you have to gamble. And he at the moment, I think Duck Lovers is all in, because the only way he can get past Chen Jie at the moment doesn't seem to be matching him the pace with those hards. But if he's got soft tires, Chen Jie definitely has to be looking in those rearview mirrors. And the voting of the day on Twitch is out there. So guys, it's being announced. There's the form. Click on it and select the drop-down list of your driver of the day, and that will be announced, by Savage there. And of some special graphics as well. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, we saw it just there now. A reminder to start thinking about who your driver of the day might be for this race. Of course, we wouldn't blame you if you decide to put that vote off for the very end because of, well, this safety car and the fact that everything is not yet decided in this Grand Prix. Now, Duck Lovers looking set to have a phenomenal end to the Magyar Nagy on the soft tires. Alex Great choosing to stick with the mediums, potentially running out of soft tires there towards the end of the Grand Prix. And it'll be so exciting to see how much pace Chen Jie really has on those 16 lap hards. Will he be able to defend on a track that is so hard to defend on and be able to keep, or forgive me, so hard to overtake on, and be able to keep that. Oh, and we just caught a collision there in the back between, it looked like multi-sub-entity and somebody immediately in front of him. Bits of front wing flying as left end plate damage. Yep.
So, let me give you a little penalty situation really quickly on the safety car. Chen Jie has 3 seconds. Duck Lovers 0. Alex 3. Dougie 3. Arcraft 0. Secret 9. Charles 0. Iron 6. Ezzy 3, and the father, he has sinned a lot, 12 seconds.
Oof.
That 3 seconds for Chen Jie is going to be crucial for Duck Lovers. Because with the softs, because of the characteristics of this track, he may not be able to get past Chen Jie, but he should be able to stay within that 3 second time window. Meaning that Duck Lovers may finish second, but he should be able to come out first, so long as he keeps himself within the bounds of the track. So Chen Jie will have to try to force Duck Lovers to make those mistakes.
That's a really, really good strategy, and that really is the only move he has left, our championship leader. Now, of course, let's not write off Dougie, Falcons, and Arcraft just yet. We know the pace those drivers have, and we know how great they are battling wheel to wheel and overtaking other cars. Dougie Falcons, of course, second in the championship, and he's been showing some phenomenal pace this race, so we will see if he's able to overcome those strategical kerfuffles over the course of this race. 3 stops for our Mercedes driver. And let's see if he's going to be able to challenge Duck Lovers. Now, it's great for that race win.
These drivers are bunching up as they all are in Sector 2. I expect the safety car should be in. Unfortunately, I'm not driving the safety car this time around. I've been drinking, and I do not drink and drive. But it looks like Bernard is doing a very good job driving the safety car again, as he's been doing for almost 20 years at the moment. So let's see how well Chen Jie is going to be looking a lot into his mirrors, because he's got...
And that's the last driver having caught up to the pack now, so the safety car should be in either this lap or the next. And
there's the confirmation.
There's race control. Yep, that is safety car in this lap.
And that
so
means
Chen Jie now backing up the pack. Oh my.
Oh wow, this is just a pure parking lot here on the last straight of the track, leading to the final few corners here. Duck Lovers poised to pick up the pace the moment Chen Jie puts his foot down, and Chen Jie is going to try to catch his rivals off guard and try to pull away as much as he can, use their infighting to his advantage. But when will he gun the throttle? Is it now? It is! And he lets out a little bit of the twitch of the rear end to those hards, unable to sustain the amount of load he's putting into them. And Dougie Falcons, too, looking so close to the back of Alex Great. These two drivers are going to go side by side into the first corner. Meanwhile, Duck Lovers trying to stick behind Chen Jie, not trying the overtake just yet. The Mercedes of Dougie Falcons diving the inside, locking the inside front, but able to force his way into third position. Meanwhile, Duck Lovers getting so very close to the back of Chen Jie, but biding his time and sticking in second for now.
Look at the absolute grip the Duck Lovers have. It's traction Chenjay's got to try to make that AlphaTauri as possibly as wide as he can right now. And also, Duck Lovers knows it, and he just has to pick his right moment. It's going to be...
Dougie Falcons down the inside into turn number 5, forgive me, and that is a collision between him and Duck Lovers, not compromising Duck Lovers too significantly, but crucially destroying Dougie Falcons' race.
And Marco and Ironhammer are slapping tires, slapping carbon fiber everywhere as well. That's just battling for P9 and 10. All these battles on track. This safety car is really throwing a spanner in the mix.
That's right. Wow, so unpredictable and so devastating for Dougie, our Mercedes driver. Unfortunately, all the way out of the points now, and would be hard to imagine him being able to recover any serious points. Meanwhile, Secret right on the back of our craft now. Both of these drivers running the soft compound, everybody running wide out of the final corner, trying to get every little bit of grip they can. Multi-sub-entity retiring in the final sector, but Secret diving it down the inside of turn 1. And is that him up into 4th position? Not just yet, as the Williams has the inside line, but backs out, and the Haas gets himself up into P4 in this race.
All of these drivers in the top 10 are absolutely putting their foot to the pedal. They do not want to lose any time to the drivers in front because they know that the penalties will absolutely be the deciding factor at the end of the day. Yeah, they're all within a second of each other.
As you mentioned, Duck Love is currently in the provisional race leader at the moment because Chenjay has 3 seconds of penalties. The Secret goes a little bit oversteering moment there, but Duck Love is he going to take a risk? But you know, these drivers, they don't necessarily want to just sit back and get it on merit. They want to get it on the track and prove to everybody they're on the top step of the podium and get that race victory.
Absolutely correct. Everybody wants the, well, nobody wants any doubters. Nobody wants any buts, ands, or ifs. Everybody wants the glory the right way, and that is overtaking on the track. And one such person, Duck Lovers, now looks so very close to getting it. Having his battery nearly drained running all sorts of overtake these past couple of laps, getting very close to the back of the Haas car in front, and Chenjay just fighting those tires now 20 laps in the hards, still managing to somehow keep Duck Lovers behind, and Alex Great so close as well to the AlphaTauri driver, unable to challenge just due to that traction on mediums as we're on board with Ezzy 9 Time, who loses his rear end out of turn 2 and 3, and well, does he suffer any damage? It looks like he does. That's a lot of his front wing missing, unfortunately, for the AlphaTauri driver.
Well, the boss... that's unfortunate for the boss.
That is macro into the wall. It just looked like Ezzy 9 Time was rejoining the track, catching the Racing Point driver off guard, nearly terrifying him, and causing him to spin out, collide with the wall.
That's unfortunate for Marco. These guys have to keep it cool right now. There's literally only 3 laps to go. There might be
we had DRS re-enabled this lap, so I believe we'll see some more action between Duck Lovers and Chenjay here as we come back to the start-finish straight.
Let's see how good of a run Duck Lovers can get now. He has exhausted almost all of his battery in the previous attempts. You can see his car flashing the red light on the back. That means it's in recovery mode. Less than 10% charge on board the AlphaTauri. And you can see that he's just unable to get close enough for an overtake against Chenjay. And Chenjay just making some miracles happen right now on those tires. That should not be going nearly as fast as he is forcing them to go. Meanwhile, Duck Lovers locked in combat with Iron Hammer, already back into the points and trying to recover some more after his accident with, Dougie Falcons, after his accident with Duck Lovers, and side by side with the McLaren driver into the fast left-hander of turn 5, and he is able to make it work. And
yeah, I wonder if they're relaying at the moment there to Dougie how he got past 20 laps of Iron Hammer 20 laps on those hards. I'm sure they're relaying that right now to Duck Lovers going, you know what, Dougie just did it, and Duck Lovers has the fresh tires. Can he get past Chenjay, even though Duck Lovers is set to win this race anyway, because 3 seconds of penalties that Chenjay has?
Well, it is in Duck Lovers' best interest to overtake the Haas driver because Alex Great is starting to look dangerously quick in his rearview mirrors right now. Those mediums coming to life with 5 laps in them, and he is so very close. Let's see if the Racing Point driver has more battery on board. He does not. Both of these cars are running on E, essentially, both of them with DRS open, and it's going to be down to who is braver on the brakes and who can get the better traction out of the corner. The Racing Point driver opening the DRS again, still behind. Duck Lovers pulling to the outside around this difficult corner. It is so hard to squeeze around the outside, and he has to shuffle back into the slipstream and try again. But where? It is lap 35 of 35, and there are very few overtaking spots left on this track.
Almost 2 kilometers left on this track. And Alex knows it because he's wanting to get more and more points to bring it to Chenjay in the championship. Chenjay obviously will settle for P2. Alex perhaps actually will get ahead of Chenjay and get a bunch of points because Chenjay's leading the championship, and Alex wants a greedy. He wants those points. He wants a hurl of them, and he wants to just get as close as he possibly can. He's got a 3-second time penalty, but so he's only looking essentially at the moment for a P3 position. But can he get that past Duck Lovers? Yeah, he's still essentially... Sorry to be a bearer. Anyway, go ahead.
That's right. It is the bearer of reality. That is, unfortunately, the case for the drivers that have committed infringements on track. We're on board with MRL Chenjay, who is going to cross the line first, but Duck Lovers is going to make it past him on penalties, elevate himself into first position, and Arcraft on penalties, able to get up into the podium from 14th position in the start of this race.
What a crafty finish. Too soon?
Oh no, you've taken our breath away, Biggles. With that, absolutely wonderful stuff. So that is the end of the Grand Prix. Get your final votes in to the Driver of the Day poll, because we will be announcing that right after the podium ceremony, or maybe right during the podium ceremony. Perhaps select your Driver of the Day. And let us know. Just a few seconds remaining now as the winners celebrate on pole position.
Can we vote?
Yes, you absolutely can and are encouraged to. That is a brilliant, brilliant drive for the AlphaTauri squad. And let's find out who is our Driver of the Day. The results are in, and the results say Zay Bernice with 48% of the vote. Zay've got quite the fans there. Chenjay in second with 20% of the vote, and Arcraft with 19 in third. Meanwhile, for the race win, that is Duck Lovers in first position, Arcraft in second in the Williams. Emerald Chenjay rounds out the podium in third place. Behind them, Charles Leclerc taking important points in fourth, Alex Great in fifth, Dougie Falcon sixth, Secret seventh, Father Sriracha in eighth, Iron Hammer ninth, and Zay Bernice rounds out the top 10. Then it is Ezzy Nighttime in 11th, Camel in 12th, Marco, in 13th, Multi-Sabenti 14th, Keon 15th, Prodigy 16th, and Fly with Neva in 17th position. Now, don't go anywhere. We will be right back with the heroes of this race for some post-race driver interviews. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back. minute. Let me try to fix that. There we go. All right, and we are back with Alliant Motorsport Americas in the interview room now, being joined by some of our heroes from this race. We have with us Duck Lovers, Secret, Arcraft, Chenjay, and Alex Great, all of whom received, well, plenty of screen time, and we are so excited to hear from them today. Let's go first to our race winner from pole position to the win. Not nearly as seamless as it may seem. Duck Lovers, tell us about your race and tell us about how you were so quick around this track today. Let's just make sure your microphone works there.
Okay, I think switch to the next driver until Ducky sorts that out.
I think I'll agree with that. Duck Lovers, we will get right back to you. Just make sure the right cables are plugged in the right places. Make sure you're off push to talk so that you can join us immediately after we talk to Arcraft. Arcraft, you started from 14th position on the grid, and you finished in second after a tumultuous race. Take us through it and take us through what it took to get up into second for you today.
Oh, yeah, it was pretty crazy. I did not expect that. But starting at the beginning of the race, I saw we're going to start in the wet and then go to dry. And I've got next to zero experience picking a good race setup that switches like that. So I kind of just picked something in between wet and dry. Don't know if that's a good idea, but it turned out pretty okay. And then I just I attempted to hold on and wait for other people to make mistakes in the rain. And the safety car at the end granted me the last few positions because I managed to not pick up a penalty. That's what I was really focusing on. I had a second warning on like lap 13 or something right after it went dry. So yeah, that's about it.
Great stuff. Well, congratulations to you on the podium. We're going to move now to Chenjay as we have quite a few drivers joining us here, so we have to keep it short and sweet. Chenjay, not the best day by your standards, but still a podium. Tell us what went on there during the race, and tell us how come you were unable to go into the pits during that safety car at the very end.
Well, the safety car came out, I think, last corner for me, so I just passed the pit lane when it came out. So there was no chance I would pit and come out in a good position. If I pit, I would have probably come out, I don't know, 4th, 5th, something like that, because by the time I made it around again to the pit lane, Duck Lovers and Alex had already caught me. So I would have had to pit, and then I would have come out behind those two, and then probably some more people. So I didn't think it was worth it, because I knew that most people would have penalties. I knew Duck Lovers didn't have one, but I didn't check Arcrafts, but yeah, I was hoping I could get second, but third is still okay. It's 3 points difference. It wasn't really a good race for me. I don't like Hungary, and I didn't have a setup, so excuses out of the way. It was an okay race, I guess. The safety car really ruined
out of
it.
the way. You're still leading the championship at the moment, so yeah. But those points are slowly deteriorating. So, but overall, still on the podium. That's where you want to be. Congratulations.
That's right. And crossing the line, still ahead of everyone else. Phenomenal defense, Chenjay, and thank you for giving us those wonderful moments on air. Let's go to Charles Leclerc now, who finished a stunning 4th after qualifying 10th. Now tell us, what was the difference for you between qualifying and race that enabled you to do so much better in the ladder?
My racing crafting Hungary is better than qualify, and yeah, I did a really good strategy. And yeah, before I can't believe, man, starting P10, my race was every race I mean behind P7, P8, but the finish before is really good. I can't believe I get that.
That's right.
All right, and now can you give us your results in Portuguese? I'm only kidding. Sorry.
P4.
Go ahead. That's right. Continue.
No, that is great stuff, Charles. Thank you for sharing your thoughts, and you are blisteringly quick. I would know because I race against you in a different league, so it is so great to have you with us here, and thank you for sharing your thoughts. Let's move on to Alex Great, who was in the hunt for the podium positions and for the race win, the entire race, getting a close 5th position. Tell us about your race and how that went, sir.
My race was pretty good, I guess. It was really like who can get the less penalties, who can keep it clean on track. Hungary is like a really, really tight circuit, and the track limits are pretty harsh. So, the reason why me and other drivers got jumped was because some people really got the track limits down. So, I mean, I had a pretty decent quality, and my race was good. I managed to get only one penalty instead of multiple, so at least I kept it decently clean throughout.
Great stuff. And thank you for sharing so much. Congratulations on the 5th position. Important points for the Racing Point team.
And Secret, just a shout out there. You had to congratulations on the splitting evenly with the father, half and half on the FedEx time penalty award.
I still haven't won it outright, boys. We're still looking good. I haven't won it outright yet.
Oh, great stuff, Secret. We will get to you in just a second. Actually, first, let's have a chat with Dougie Falcons, who had such a phenomenal race, only to have that collision with Duck Lovers at the very end. Talk us through that last stint and your thoughts on that race-changing event.
That was my fault, and I was being dumb. Other than that, yeah, it was just very messy, really. Another very weird one. It was like, I had the opportunity probably to win the Grand Prix, but just fluffed. Like, I just outbraked myself going into the corner and tried to stop as much as I can. Duck Lovers did give me the space, which was fair enough, but yeah, that was my fault, and then I just had to like fight back. It was like countless fight backs for me in that race, where the strategy just didn't play out because I thought it was going to rain longer, so I went on the extra set of intermediates. I dropped back to like 8th place. I was battling with Charles, and then got back, and I was setting fastest laps, so I was trying to catch back up to Alex and I think Secret at the time.
That's right, Dougie. We were kind of wondering actually, because you did 9 on those inters, and then you switched to those inters again when it looks like the conditions are drying up. So perhaps you need to evaluate Jeff as your race engineer and see if his contract should be perhaps replaced, because that probably cost you a lot further up into the points paying positions. Anyway, still,
the only reason I pitted was because of the space. Cause I was being held up at the by doctors at the start, so I was like, try it. Maybe it might be wetter. I thought it was gonna be wetter for longer, to be honest. So that's why I pitted it for that, and then went to the mediums, and they felt great. I was lapping like a second and a half faster than everyone, but
you did the longest runs in those mediums as well, too, 16 laps.
Yeah, they felt great. They did. They could have went to the end, honestly, but safety car came in, then the ending was like that.
You also had a blistering lap there. I think actually in the top 10, you were the fastest. Your fastest lap 1:16.9999. So yes, definitely outside of Kion, who was outside the points anyway, so the fastest lap. But you were the fastest man essentially in the top 10. So you had the pace there. Unfortunately, just a little bit more points were up for grabs. But anyway, that's what happens.
Yeah, wishing you better luck for the next one, but still thank you for all the amazing overtakes today and the awesome action on track. And still quite a few points. A nice recovery from 11th to 6th in the final few laps for Dougie Falcons. Let's now have a chat with Secret. Now, Secret, tell us a little bit about your race beyond all of those time penalties. How did you like the mid-pack battle today? And what can you tell us from the action that you saw?
Well, it wasn't a mid-pack battle. It wasn't a mid-pack battle, though. I was at the front. I was just being a moron because I don't like hunger that much. So I never practiced, so I didn't quite know where the track limits were at. All of a sudden, I have 6 seconds of penalties in the first 10 laps. I go, oh, that's great. So I'm like, all right, back her down. Then it's just always, I was behind. Once again, me and Alex decided to just form a bit of a 2-man train and just run around the whole track again, finding a bit of a trend of that happening. So it was just dirty air, and I'd go out wide or I'd do something stupid. So I ended up with the penalties. And then I think it was around a couple laps before the safety car came out at the end there. The first turn in sector 2. I just got on the throttle a bit early, so I got a bit of wing damage there, so that's why I was losing so much time. And then I ended up coming out behind Arcraft, and then I got another penalty, so qualified 7th, finished 7th. My last lap I spun out, and I would have been 4th in qualifying. Without penalties, I would have been 4th I finished 4th in the race, so good to know where my pace really was today, and just where are we next time? Monza? I quite like Monza, so I'm going to try and not suck next time.
Great stuff. Well, thank you for the candid interview, Secret. We love having you up here in the interview booth. and we do wish you less penalties next time. However, quite still a good result for you this time around, and some great pace out on track. Congratulations on the points you received. And now let's jump right back to the race winner, Duck Lovers. Duck Lovers, does your microphone work a little bit better now, and why do you love ducks so much?
Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes, we can.
Okay. My name Duck Lovers is Duck Lovers because I used to own ducks, and so my siblings decided to. They made me a gaming account on Steam, and or some other thing, and they decided to name me as Duck Lovers, and I just stuck with it because I thought it was funny, and I didn't have anything better, so that's how I got my name.
Great stuff. Now tell us a little bit about your battle with Chenjay for the lead of the race in the final laps. Did you know that he had the time penalty, and were you trying to best him on track, or was it in your best interests just to stay behind and collect the race win based on the time penalties?
The issue is that when I pitted, even when I initially pitted for hards, I forgot to take off the 2 wing I had to work in the wet. And I also forgot to do that on the second pit stop. And so I knew he had the penalty the whole time. I had 2 warnings, so I had to be a little careful. But I wanted to beat him on track. But I just couldn't get past him on the straight, even with DRS. And so it was on like the final 2 laps. I decided to just chill out and just stay behind him within a second or so. And just wait to the end with the penalty. And then Alex came up behind me, because I was just so slow in the straight. He just started to blaze past me, but I had I positioned my car perfectly in the turn 1 and turn 2, and he just once you get past turn 1 and turn 2, there's no passing opportunities. So from there on, I had won it. Just didn't need to get a warning.
Understood. Well, thank you for sharing, and this race result will elevate you significantly in the driver's table into 4th position, very close to 3rd now as well. So congratulations to you on the race win, and well, you can feel free to celebrate this one. There is some tough competition up here in Alliant Motorsports, America's top division. So, Biggles Fuzzy, tell me a little bit about your thoughts from what we've seen in this hectic and unpredictable Hungarian Grand Prix.
The best thing I can say is this is absolutely not like the true F1. We actually have one hell of a fight for first, and I am very excited to see how this will play out in the coming days.
Absolutely. I completely 100% mirror Fuzzy's words there. I couldn't agree more. I think at some point Savage, you must have stand away from the microphone because you must have been just jumping on up and down with joy, because that commentary towards the end was exploding, wasn't it? And it wasn't just that, it was the exploding results that was occurring. Thank you very much to Codemasters for throwing the rain gods in there and putting a little spanner in the mix, because it always makes entertaining racing, but still fantastic. I'm excited. I can't wait till next week.
Absolutely. The creativity we see from the drivers in this league is absolutely top-notch. We saw overtakes today through turns such as 8, 4, and even 12, things that we do not see very much of in real life.
Don't forget the pit lane.
And oh yes, in the pit lane. Let's not forget about that. That was just truly legendary stuff from Father Sriracha. It's a shame he could not join us today for interviews, but a very, very dramatic overtake there across the pit entry line. So it's great to see drivers that are so able to, attack and defend on the track. Some phenomenal battles we saw, and even a lot of sportsmanship, where it was, I believe, Dougie Falcons, or maybe it was Duck Lovers, that in a fight with Charles Leclerc, forced him off the track on accident, slowed down, let the Ferrari driver through as an act of fair play, and continued on the battle. This is top-notch stuff. This is what makes some of the best drivers in the world that we have on offer for you guys today, and we are so delighted to have you all join us on Twitch. For next week's Grand Prix, we are, in fact, as Secret mentioned, going to Monza, the Temple of Speed, for the next round. And the championship standings are getting ever tighter, and it is getting so much more exciting. So we are so pumped to get to the next one. But until then, and until that happens, well, we, from myself, Savage from Team Crossroads, from Fuzzy Peach, from Biggles, it has been a a pleasure and an honor commentating for you today, and we'll see you next time. Keep going as fast as you can.